Welcome to Page Turners, a weekly bookish podcast for every kind of reader. Whether you want to explore a variety of genres, tick books off your growing TBR, or simply skip the reading for book club, we've got you covered. That's Liv.
And that's Amy.
Hello.
Hello.
Look at us.
Oh,
I was going to say finishing each of the sentences, but we're just saying hello at the same time.
just saying the same thing. Simpatico. How are you?
Well, thank you. It's very sunny, so I'm very happy.
Yes. Yeah, it's so nice today again, which is nice. I thought by now we would have run out of nice days in Scotland, but no, we continue them,
Yeah, no, I
which is
think
great.
actually, yeah, if anything, I think we are getting towards the quarter, but
Mm.
I'm not sure when that's going to be cut off by the higher beings. But you know,
That's all of your summer. You've had it all now.
no barbecues or pizza oven nights for you.
No, but no, it's glorious right now. I can feel the sun.
We do have to talk quite quickly about the fact that one of our followers on TikTok thought that your background was real.
Look at my hand. Look how realistic. I'll get a book from the background.
What
No, yeah, kudos to the person that made it.
I do love about it is that you're right when you said that you think the sun is the thing that's like streaming down.
It
It
is because this isn't real sunlight. This here, that's not real, but this here is. So I think it's like all working beautifully together to keep the illusion alive.
one day we'll do like a room reveal for you.
Oh, my office. Yeah, not today though, because I'm unpacking. It's chaos back there.
But AJ, who said that they thought it was real, thank you for thinking that Amy has such a beautifully structured background.
Stunning.
Yeah.
It's stunning with those beautiful pastel colored books. I mean, this is maybe someone's background or it's AI. Who knows?
Oh, I hope it's not AI, but we'll just pretend it's someone's. It makes me feel better thinking it's someone's.
Yeah, someone on that little couch
Yeah.
just there.
See, if that's what your background looked like, I'd be at yours every week. We'd be recording over.
I know. But yeah, it's not real. Sorry.
How was Poland? Inquiring minds want to know.
It was amazing. It was so good. We had great weather. We had so much fun. Poland is a beautiful country. We visited different parts of it. A place called Zakopane, I want to say, which I think is typically a ski resort town.
Okay.
So we went on one of those alpine outdoor roller coaster things, and it was hilarious.
Like when you're just sat in like a bucket type thing.
Yeah, it's like a plastic sort of sled thing. They call it a toboggan, and you control the speed. So if you push the lever down, it goes quicker. If you pull it up, it slows down, and it kind of just banks down the side of the mountain, and it's just so much fun. So yeah, we just got a lot of time and got a lot of laughs out of that. So many good photos, so many funny videos. That was one of the highlights of the trip. But yeah, it was great. We went to thermal baths. We ate a lot of really good food. We drank a lot of really nice wine and cocktails. So it was a winning weekend. Great fun.
A big thumbs up for Poland.
Big thumbs up. Yes.
Good to hear.
We-
Good to hear.
Yeah. Mm. Have you been up to anything exciting over the Easter weekend?
Mum and Dad were here. Um,
Oh, nice.
it was nice. Yeah, we ate some nice food. We drank some nice wine. We
Mhm.
played a lot of mahjong.
Nice. Fun. Just good time.
Yeah, just good vibes. Yeah, no, my mum
Mm.
is a connoisseur of champagne. That's how I would describe her. A fizz femme, perhaps.
Oh, love
And
it.
I've just made that up, so trademark, live.
Yeah.
And she enjoys a good fizz, so we had a couple of bottles of that, and that was very nice.
Look at us with our nice weekends.
I know, fabulous.
Mm. Book news. Just wanted to mention off the back of us discussing indie authors and trying to read more of them. Three more authors have been traditionally published. So yeah, so Metal Slinger by Rachel Schneider. That's been traditionally published. I think the cover was revealed this week.
Hmm.
Quite nice. Vessellus. I don't know if you ever read that one. It's like a black cover with quite a simplistic, quite a basic white outline.
Oh,
That was Courtney L. Wynn, and the Legacy series by Melissa K. Rorick. That's also been traditionally published towards the end of the year. So
oh,
yeah, well
that's
done, ladies.
incredible. There we go. Well done. Yeah, absolutely. It's it's good in a way, I think. I don't know though, because obviously it's good for those authors to be being picked up and having that recognition and stuff.
Yeah, and the financial stability, I guess, too, of being able to actually have the chance to leave maybe their current job and things.
Yeah. So I understand that. I don't know, I just sort of wish that maybe instead of bringing them over to the side of traditional publishing, there was perhaps more spotlight and scope on indie authors and indie publishers from the off, you know.
Yeah, I just
Um,
don't. I think it's tough, isn't it? Because I just don't think they could compete with the packages that they get from traditional publishing. So I totally understand why they go down that road because if you want to be want to be an author that's getting a constant wage,
hmm.
then I can see it. I can see why. But yeah, you're right. It would be nice if there was a bit more scope. Yeah, yeah.
That's good though. I'm chuffed for them. And to be fair, I've still not read Metal Slinger. Have you?
No, because for the longest time I thought it was the sequel to Quicksilver. Yeah, so I think they came out very similar times, to be fair,
Yeah.
and I just assumed Metal Silver, it was the same thing. So no, I haven't. Um, maybe
I
one
think
for future.
maybe. I think that one, the sequel to Quicksilver's actually called Brimstone,
Oh,
or maybe that's the sequel to Metal Slinger. I don't know. But I understand how you've mixed them up for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
My book news is that
Mhm.
the final cover for Alchemized has been released, has been
Wow,
seen, has been sort of like put out there by Sinlen US.
wow.
Um,
You're getting some real reaction from me here because didn't know this.
Absolutely, go have a look right now, and I'll
I'm going to look right now.
can have it live. I think is it on her Insta?
Let's have a look. Alchemized cover reveal.
It shows the end pages. It shows the naked hardcover. It shows the inside jacket.
Oh, oh, wow.
You have to tell the people what you're looking at.
I don't know. A dragon
Oh yeah, on the
eating
net.
its own tail? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. I've definitely seen the cover before. But yeah, it's given us a little bit more, a little bit more. I think she's playing her cards very close to her chest. I don't blame her
Mm,
because there's going to be a lot of not critique around this one, but the expectations must be sky high. I think if you were feeling a little bit nervous if I was her
yeah.
right now.
I wonder how it's going to mirror the original prose.
Very difficult to, I think. I think that's the difficult thing with fan fiction. There's a lot of fan fiction being released or traditionally published this year and adapted, and I think that's always going to be a real challenge because you go into it knowing an awful lot already. So you have the reader is already prepped, and you can just then play with the characters, play with the setting. Whereas in this example, you need to almost rewrite the whole thing, don't you? And think, well, actually, let's pretend nobody knows about this because it can't just be fan fiction that's published that you change the names, you know,
Yeah.
for a whole host of reasons. Interesting, very interesting, and interesting that it's happening at such a controversial time as well. That
Yeah.
this is the fan fiction work that is being traditionally published, but people are excited. It's everywhere. As I say, there are three, the big three, I think, of that particular ship is being trad published this year. So, and I think we're reading two of them. I don't think we have got this third one on our list, but we could add it. But yeah, I'm excited for it.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm hopeful that it's being published is not a sort of a champion of the original text, not manacled, not the fan fiction itself, but the
I don't think so. I don't think so, because it is quite far removed from it, isn't it? I mean, even for a fanfic, it's definitely an EU. Manacled doesn't fit the narrative. It's not canon.
Yeah, I think I have very interesting expectations. I won't say what they are. I'll
Yes.
wait till we go, but yeah, I'm hopeful but a little cautious.
Yes. Yeah. That's cool news, though. I like that.
Yeah, sorry, a little underwhelming, I feel, but
Well, not for me. I mean, maybe for the listeners listen to me going, "Oh wow, oh cool."
I know that you are currently busy reading. Well, we go on holiday in a couple of weeks, but
Hmm.
you are very busy currently reading our podcast books. But I thought I would tell you a little bit about the book I'm currently reading.
Please do.
It is called Long Live Evil by Sarah
Hmm.
Rees Brennan, and it's basically. Do you know about manga or anime when there's a word for it, there's a particular word, they sort of either die or get brought into the story that they love and read?
No.
That's a whole sort of theme in manga and anime and like web comics and things like that. There's a
So
word.
the character is transported into another work that they're reading.
They're either transported into their own, they're transported into a work that they love, but they're generally then transported into a character's body and they almost become that person.
Okay, that's cool.
So our FMC, she's dying and she seizes a second chance and she goes into her sort of favorite book series and she becomes the villainess and she
Ooh.
rallies the villains or the villain against the emperor. Um, So
Mhm.
I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I'm only about a few bits in, like we always are, because we have priorities, and unfortunately, regular books are not that. But
Yeah, we have a list. Cool. No, I started the book that we will be talking about next week. Um, Last night, thoroughly enjoying it. Very different to what we've read this week. And quite a refreshing read actually.
mm, yeah, we will talk a bit more about that next week and
Mm,
um, how certain books sort of you may look back and other books might be not as good as you remember, but it's because you're
yeah.
reading them in different orders or you're reading different books after and stuff like that.
Yeah, if you're coming out of a slump or you're desperately trying to find something to put you in a slump because you really want that next like 5 star. So yeah, this is coming at a good time, this one.
Hmm. Not this one though, but so
Not this one.
speaking of which, Amy, would you like to tell us what we've read this week?
Yes. So this week we have read Boys with Sharp Teeth by Jenny Howell. And this is Jenny's debut novel.
Yes. Yes, it is. How was it pitched? Because I think we should have a quick talk about that. Because we both loved the cover. We mentioned this last week that I was in fact quite disappointed that the cover wasn't three men, but that's
Hmm.
but I think there was I kept thinking all the way through because there was something you said when you sort of said, "Oh, this is what it's going to be." You said it was a why choose.
I thought it was a why choose.
Mm.
I
Mm-hmm.
think it's a don't choose, but never mind.
You
Yeah, I've actually seen a lot of people mention that it has been added to like queer and gay shelves. Like, this
yeah.
is going to be one to read.
Mhm.
Yeah, don't do that.
Nope. A lot of the reviews are not happy about that.
Interesting. All right, I've got some trigger warnings. You can let me know if any are missing. I just sort of put some of these together myself, and there were some people that had mentioned them on various websites. Death, violence, mentions of suicide, self-harm, drug abuse.
We can't forget about peril.
Perils in there.
Um,
Drowning
yeah,
and descriptions of dead bodies. I guess that's in there too. Quite graphic descriptions of that. So,
yeah.
yeah.
If we forgot any apologies, right. Okay. Again, I always feel like I apologize before my speedy summaries because they're always bad. So we'll just have to go with it.
There was a point in the story where I thought, oh, good luck, Liv. Because the wheels came off. Are you ready?
I am.
Okay, so three, two, one, go.
Jamie Vane, real name Maren James, infiltrates Huntsworth Prep Academy to discover who murdered her cousin Sam. She has three suspects: rich kid Henry, rich kid Adrian, and principal's daughter, and rich kid Baz. She rooms with Adrian and immediately sets to work investigating and trying to keep up in class and pass midterms, also while communicating with some unknown student in a philosophy book. She becomes close with the three of them, wrestling with the idea that they could have killed Sam. She's also seeing ghosts, creatures, demons. I don't know. So does Henry, and Baz is afraid of all the mirrors. Jamie draws the conclusion that the killer is Adrian and Henry is in fact the one communicating in the book with her, and she falls in love with him. Eh. They grow close, but Adrian warns her away. To get back at Adrian for killing Sam, she goes to kill Baz, Adrian's best friend and his Sam, by injecting her with too much insulin. She is stopped by Adrian and she runs away. They reunite and kiss, giving in to their desires, and Marin accuses him of killing Sam. He confesses. When they were boys, Adrian was caught in Henry's house fire and Henry saved him but lost his life and his family by doing so. But he survived because something heard Adrian begging. His soul was trapped in a mirror and his being split, and now he has to be fed by people to remain alive. Henry interrupts this revelation by telling them he has killed Baz by the needle Marin left, framing her. Adrian agrees to help Marin bring down Henry at the ball, and together they record a confession of Adrian's before killing Adrian to set him free from Henry. Henry confesses that he, in fact, set up the fire to ensure that Adrian would always be pledged to him. Marin tries to let Henry kill her, happy to be set free herself, but he begs for the mirror demon to keep her alive, and it does! Trapping her is the same as Henry. Henry is jailed, and Marin returns to her old life, slowly withering before giving in and writing to Henry that she's bored.
1 minute 51.
Uh, yeah.
First impressions?
Well, the first chapter was an absolute shit show. It's like a sort of prologue type thing, and we're basically with Adrian, and he's having an existential crisis in front of a mirror, and the wording and the writing, it's just so fucking pompous, so inaccessible.
To be fair, I thought so many chapters were. And it was very jarring because it went from being this really wordy, pompous, as you say, style to the next chapter being like actually really quite simplistic.
Mhm.
And I couldn't really work out if that was a deliberate choice or what that was trying to achieve. So that lost me entirely.
I sort of, I felt like, oh, look, it's dark academia, and he's a tortured.
Mm,
Um, and then we meet Marin, who arrives at the school, and she's like, at first it's being told to us in third person, almost
hmm
as if Marin is narrating her own journey, and then it slips into her telling it into first.
Yeah,
What
I think it's like it's me.
Yeah, my
I
God.
am Jamie. And you're like, okay. The descriptions were nowhere for me. They were far too wordy, really loads of run-on sentences. I could not picture the setting or the characters well at all.
Yep. Yep. It got to a bit where I think I text you. I think I said I'm about 40% in and I'm actually kind of enjoying it.
You
But
did, and I was really hopeful, and then didn't experience the same. But you
yeah,
know,
I think it's because we got in you get into the inertia of like Jamie investigating for a little bit. And sort of the will they, won't they with her and Adrian and Henry and stuff, and I was a bit like, oh, okay, it's building, it's building. It's not going to be either one of these three that's actually killed him. They actually loved him, they were friends and stuff. Something big and supernatural's going on. And then, yeah, pretty soon after, I was just like, what the fuck is going on?
that's it. I couldn't work out how something so confusing and convoluted could be so predictable.
But
Because in some ways, you're right. It was like, who's that? Where are we going now? What's a demon in the mirror? How does this work? Who is that person? And then in other ways, it was like, who's writing in the history of philosophy book? Oh, of course, it's Adrian.
obviously it's Adrian, you fucking idiot. Obviously it's Adrian.
There was nothing. And who's killed Sam? Oh yeah, it's Adrian. Yeah, it is Adrian. Nothing surprised me in it. Nothing. And even the reveal about Henry, I was like,
It just didn't make any sense all the way
mm.
through. He's batshit crazy.
I know.
I know that's not
I
very
know.
like PC, and I know it's not very nice to say, but
No, but for the purposes of a fictional character, it's a good description for sure. It's it's like someone running around with a cape on, twirling a moustache and like laughing maniacally. It's we
Oh,
always say because we like this, we like to say, "Oh, it's not a pantomime villain." In this case, it's you can't even understand his motivations because he's just so inaccessible as a character.
it's mad, right? Like I would even say that I think to call him a pantomime villain would be too good for him because
I agree.
at least with a pantomime villain it's black and white, you know? Like you
Mm.
I don't even so just to get this straight because I
Hmm.
think because
I
obviously
don't think it is straight in my head, but let's discuss it and see if we can do it together.
so it all begins because Henry sort of feels alone in his rich family, boo-hoo.
He's
He
yeah,
gets
he's sad.
he gets Adrian, who's his like first kind of friend, and he didn't want Adrian to leave. So he plans to burn down or put himself into so basically he puts gas canisters in by the Christmas tree, purposely doesn't water it, and then just flicks matches off the banister. The plan is what for Adrian?
I think it's so that Adrian has like a life debt to Henry, which is mad. That's a plot point for a story. Because Henry doesn't know about the magic demon mirror,
Not at that
whatever.
point, no.
No, so it's not like he's planning to become like this presence that relies on Adrian so heavily.
Yeah, and he gets trapped under a beam helping Henry,
Yes.
sorry, helping Adrian to get that life debt. He dies.
The
Adrian,
mirror's above him.
yeah, because who does that in a fucking house? In this massive house, who goes, oh yeah, let's put a mirror on the ceiling? Fuck off, rich people. Anyway, the mirror's above him, and then Adrian's begging so loudly that something inside of the mirror
Listens.
traps Henry's soul in there, and then they,
Well, no, kind of it like splits his soul. So he does have he has like a soulless husk, but it's like a soul that's unable to have any feelings or thoughts or it's that kind of thing in his actual body, and his soul is in the mirror and he
yeah,
has to feed it with other souls. Question mark.
cool. Yeah, and
Uh,
I don't understand why he kills Baz.
to frame to frame Jamie, but to
Why?
get rid of Jamie because he doesn't want Jamie to have a relationship with Adrian.
Okay, okay. I'd say it makes sense, but it doesn't.
Just kill her. You've been killing he's been killing other people for you. Just kill her.
What I think is mad as well is yeah, that's it. You find out that they've been killing other boys or other people to
Yeah,
feed
because the school's got a death toll like that's huge. And nobody seems to find it concerning.
no one. Oh my God, literally.
They have a specific assembly every year where they basically like read out the names of everyone that's died in that previous school year. It's like that's not okay.
No, no, it's like my mum's favorite bit of the Oscars is the eulogy bit when they read out.
Yes. It's that vibes, isn't it? Like black and white photographs and sad music, and everyone's just like, oh yeah, more people have died this
Uh,
year under mysterious circumstances.
Rip to
That's
the bone.
fine.
Yeah. The maddest thing for me is that everyone's okay with it because they've had all those deaths categorized as accidents, car
Hmm.
accidents, overdose
Hmm.
things. No
Hmm.
one's, and it just fucks me off that Maren slash Jamie goes there and is like, "Oh, I've just blown this case wide open," and then she just stops and she's just like, "Oh, but I'm in love with them."
She just doesn't really. I mean, I really dislike Jamie as a character because she had absolutely no substance whatsoever. You're right. She had a really clear purpose. She did so much to somehow trick her way into the school, which was completely nonsensical. She had 2 weeks because after that, the check would bounce and people would realize she wasn't supposed to be there. But up until that point, everybody somehow accepted she was supposed to be there, despite the fact that she had no transcripts or she had transcripts that had been forged.
Yeah, who
I
did?
also looked up what a capstone is, and that's like your final project in secondary school in America. It's basically like you put together like a presentation of something that you've learned in the class. So she's coming into like the last bit of the school year, and nobody's asking any questions about it.
Oh, I don't even remember anyone having a capstone.
Yeah, that capstone philosophy class is why she gets to go to
Oh,
that because there's one place in one class, and of course it has to be the class that the three of them are all in together.
oh,
And it's at night. It's at night. She arrives one evening on, I want to say, is it a Saturday night or something? She shows up and she thinks she's got until the like Monday to get herself prepared. And they're like, no, no, our classes start at 9 o'clock. What?
yeah, I don't understand.
Why?
I didn't understand as well as she forges her transcript somehow by
Mhm.
making her levels high, and
Really high. Why would you make them so fucking high? Why would
they
you do that? Because then how do you live up to that?
then they room the children based on their
Oh
academic
yeah,
ability.
on academic ability.
And
God.
so what I love about this is the only space available clearly that we've got is the one in a they're co-ed rooms first of all because that's
They're co-ed rooms. They're
um
co-ed rooms.
and then she's with Adrian because of course she is because he's the cleverest clever boy that ever clevered.
He's
And
the cleverest of clogs. Yeah.
at, at what point do you just not get immediately found out? Like I'm not saying she's stupid, but
She's not that intelligent. Why would you make it that? Why wouldn't you make it that he had bribed, he had money and his parents had paid extra to get him a good room? Because that would have made more sense in the scheme of how we feel about these characters right now, that they're like spoiled little rich kids. So why wasn't it that? Why was it academic achievement in a co-ed room? Also, when he was playing just dissonant sounds on the violin, fuck off. How pretentious can you be?
it was honestly none of these people were worth anything. Like
They were just they weren't real either. Like I did not feel like any of them were in any way real. I couldn't relate to any of them. Baz was the best of the bunch.
Baz was the best for sure. But I mean,
But the others were just talking in riddles. The dialogue made no sense. They were saying things that teenagers would just never say. And I think you can get away with that a little bit with Henry because I thought for a minute he might be immortal. And I was like,
yeah.
okay, he's not. He's the same age.
Oh,
I actually just wanted to do a quick shout out to another podcast called Yeah, We Read It, because they had an interview with Jenny, and I thought that would be quite interesting to listen to because actually it's a debut novel and it's fine. Um, so was a high school teacher up until quite recently, and she wanted to write a deep, dark academia for young adult audience
mm.
so that they could be introduced to concepts such as philosophy and philosophical thought and conversation, so that that might spark something within them to want to pursue that further and maybe read the source material of her research.
I mean, it'll spark something. It'll spark a hate for dark academia. That's fucking sure.
And philosophy, because I was so bored. And some of that, I'm not saying it's not interesting, but it wasn't written in an interesting way.
God, no. All right, we're going to talk a little bit more about that, I think.
Okay.
With regard to the philosophy, I just didn't find it all that accessible. If we're talking specifically about, let's talk as if it's a YA or a younger YA type, mid YA, let's say.
Mhm.
Even I, at 32 years old, didn't read this and go, oh, yeah, no, there's definitely something I'll think of here.
No, for sure. I also felt it just, to me, felt really smug. It
Mm,
was like, oh, look, like, you know, the first discussion that they have in the first class, and it just, I felt like we were supposed to feel like, wow, this is so deep, and but it was like I'm 14 and this is deep, you know. It just didn't. It didn't hit. And maybe it's because, as you say, we're older, it's not for us, but I feel like we should have got the characters right and it shouldn't have felt so false. Like I just didn't buy that they were what they were talking about. And the fact that like Adrian was just such a bloody cliche. Like he wasn't listening, but he was like too cool for it all. But then he could come up with these really insightful
oh,
little comments that he made. It just came across as such a twat. Oh, can't
yeah,
say that.
I absolutely think you can say
Just so
twat.
unlikable. Oh well, keep it in then.
You're right though,
Yeah.
and like And he comes across as so completely smug as well. But then to be completely like racked with guilt afterwards, oh, I killed Sam and I'd do it again. It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make any sense. And like we like I feel like I can speak for you when I say this. We like an arrogant like, little rich boy. That's I was expecting this to be right up our street for that reason. But we like it when there's shades of grey and when there is some character development and there's more to that character than meets the eye. There was just nothing here. There was nothing, no depth at all.
Yes, you can speak for both of us. Absolutely. I love an arrogant little rich prick, but only when he's consistently a rich prick, or like his character is
Yes,
consistent, or he's hiding something and he's having
yes,
to mask that, or something. Something.
something.
But
Or he
there
changes something about the relationships or the story, something changes him into something else. This just felt like there was trying to be character development, but in making the characters develop, they acted completely out of character. And Henry was just so difficult to understand. I hated his bits because I just was like, he's meant to be like this. Oh, he's so evil and dark and twisted, but I just couldn't follow what he was talking about most of the
just
time.
yeah, like oh, if he was meant to be evil and dark and twisted, I didn't get that until maybe until he killed Baz, and then he was like, "Oh, Jamie, 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 you do into me."
Yes.
Like I just
Oh.
understand him at all. It made no sense, and
No,
maybe that's on me. Maybe I'm not clever enough to get the whole like deeper meaning of it, but it just didn't feel like there was anything to get.
no. I don't think there was anything to get. I think there was a lot of ideas thrown at the wall. I actually really enjoyed the scrying element. I thought that was really cool and I was excited to see where it went. I just didn't believe any of it. And there was no explanation for how this happened and why there was a demon in the mirror that you could call upon and it would split your soul. Like, what was that about? And has it happened to anybody else? And does it only happen to students there? Or because Baz was scared of it and she was into tarot and scrying and sort of that kind of practice. So she was kind of up on it. She covered all the mirrors because she was scared of what she saw within them. But is that because it's a thing?
I sort of got that it was because she lived with Henry and Henry was inside the mirrors being a creep. I don't know. Like,
Just creeping around. Yeah, maybe.
yeah, because obviously it all happens at Henry's house, right? The
Hmm.
first sort of like, oh, please don't take Henry. Okay.
Yeah.
Demon in the mirror.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
But why would it? Why would the demon
Why?
do that?
Also, let me get this straight. So Marin slash Jamie is seeing this ghost type thing that she keeps thinking is
Yes.
Sam. But is that Henry then? Is it Henry's
It's
soul?
Henry. It's Henry creeping
Oh,
around. Yeah.
how rubbish.
It's Henry for sure. I mean, it's not good, but that is what it is. Also, at the end, when she writes the letter to Henry and says, I'm bored, and it's like he'll know what to do. Is that supposed to be a nod to like Dorian Gray? That like soul trapped, but
Oh.
finding no joy and no excitement and no pleasure in anything, empty, soulless. I just, what?
So, as far as I'm aware, she obviously goes into that ballroom to die, but
Yes.
yeah, yeah, and then Henry's like calls on the demon and is like, please, no.
Yeah. Well, did he drown? He tries to drown her, doesn't he?
Yeah, because the sprinklers go off and apparently all the windows are watertight and that creates a very small gap, a small little bit of what. Fuck off. Anyway, I mean, look, you can
That's like that cautionary tale you were told as a kid when you're like, you can drown in an inch of
inch of
water, you
water.
know.
It was honestly the words nearly. I was like, I mean, you can drown in an inch of water, like literally. How? Yeah, but I'm sure you can. I'm sure you absolutely can. But also, how? It sounded like a big old ballroom. The sprinkler system
Mhm.
isn't going to be enough to like
No.
fill that up. Anyway, fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's not the worst thing in this book, so
No.
I can forgive it.
Mm.
Yeah, so then her soul is then trapped in the mirror. So do we
Yes.
assume, and she then goes back home intent on just withering away. Oh,
Not and not eating souls. Yeah. Like not doing what he did because she needs souls to survive, so she doesn't want to kill first. sustenance, I don't think.
Yeah, and then she like connects with Henry through something because she's then able to see Henry holding a knife or something at a guard or his own
Why
self.
is Henry in prison? If Henry has this ability to like go through mirrors and things, why does he let himself be locked up for however long?
Does his is his I'm basically assuming they're two separate entities. So his corporeal body is stuck and his soul is within the mirror system. I don't know,
When,
every mirror.
yeah,
Um,
no, I think you're right.
and then she can then also be in every mirror. I don't know. And then so then she feeds somehow, and I don't know how. On what?
I I don't know. I think she says to him, "I'm bored," which I
Yeah.
took to mean like she's going to change now and she's going to start feeding on souls like he did.
Yeah, because she feels like she feeds on something when he's like he's cut himself or some shit, I don't know. And the guard in there and something's happened and then she feels better. And she's, oh my God, I feel
Yes.
good. Because all the way through, what's one of the lines that I just wanted to gag at? It's like something about boys being monsters. And I'm just like, okay, cool.
And it's funny because we had that really great line in Hungerstone about women, or was it men? No, I think it was men being monsters in that one. So it was such a contrast to how the difference in the quality.
Yes. Yeah. Nicely put. Nicely put.
Yeah.
I
I
feel
I
like,
don't know. I don't know if that's the case. If that is the case, then who's interacting with her throughout the story? I assume it is the corporeal version of Henry, but he is just able to still also talk in riddles and be a bit enigmatic and mysterious, despite the fact he's like a soulless husk that shouldn't really have any personality, I
yeah,
assume.
I don't know if we're supposed to believe that he's a psychopath because he has no soul, but then
Maybe.
surely no, don't get me wrong, I've said it and then I want to backtrack it. But only because no one with a soul, if the soul is the reason that makes him a good person or whatever, I'm really going hard on the experts there. Then no good person would put fucking gas canisters behind a tree and then flick
No,
matches at it. So clearly he's
no,
warped in. Yeah, it just it's not a why choose, Amy, and that's the biggest thing
no.
that I'm kicking off
It's
about
not.
here.
It's not a choose of any kind, really. Again, though, it tries to be. There are elements where Jenny tries to bring some romance or some steam or some tension into it with both boys. It doesn't really work. I didn't care.
No,
Um,
like
Also, why does Henry need Adrian to kill people for him?
right? Why can't he just do it if he's the one that's going to kill? Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I don't. Maybe because he just doesn't want to get his hands dirty. I don't fucking know.
So Adrian just kills people because of a life debt. He's like, oh yeah, because you saved me and you didn't save any of your family members. I feel so bad about it that I'm just going to kill people for you.
And no,
What?
Adrian's meant to be this clever clogs, like you said,
He's clever.
and
He's super clever.
he never once considers how the fire started.
Never. Mm-mm.
At what point will the fireman not be like, oh yeah, there were some gas canisters behind the fucking Christmas tree and it wasn't watered and
No.
someone was just flicking matches?
Yeah. Some psychopath would just sat flicking a match. Ah, mm. Mm. Let's talk about the romance and let's talk about the relationships. Let's not call it romance.
It fucked me off because you're going in there to right a wrong for your cousin, your best friend, the person you love most in this world, and then you're distracted by two dicks.
Two decks who have got no, there's just nothing about them. Like, why would you want to have anything to do with either of them?
It makes no sense. At what point do you go, like, if somebody killed somebody who I love the most in this world, I don't think I would ever even entertain like, oh, I've got an interest in one of them. My pure
No, of
hatred would push me through.
course. And I think if she had used, I wouldn't have really liked it because that's a bit cheap as well. But if she'd used the romance to try and get them to trust her and then turn them against one another and then there was more to it in that sense. That could have been quite an interesting read, but it wasn't that. She just started to have feelings for both of them.
Also, there was no chemistry between either the boys and her. There was more fucking chemistry between her and Baz. I honestly thought it was going to happen. I thought there was going to be a bit of gay with Baz, and I was actually kind of behind it. And then no.
I was kind of behind it too, and then Baz died, and yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, Baz died, sorry, because Jamie has decided that rather than solve the mystery, she's going to take revenge by killing the
Killing
thing
Baz.
Adrian's Sam, essentially.
Yeah, because they went to the beach party thing, and she sees them kissing, so she sort of realizes that he feels the way about Baz that she felt about Sam, and so she's going to punish Adrian by killing Baz.
But that doesn't make any sense because Sam is her cousin and she doesn't kiss him.
It
Like,
just makes no sense. None of it makes any sense. And I know that Baz really likes Adrian because they have that little like sleepover element, and she like says like, "Oh, I'm so excited," and whatever else. But does Adrian have a give a shit about Baz romantically?
no, no, he's the only kissing Baz, probably because he really loves Jamie or Maren or whatever, and
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
Henry. And just for me, it's the worst thing as well, is because like when you're a girl, right? Which we have been and are. You
Hmm.
and I can't speak for men, but when you like someone and you're 16 or 17 or fucking 18, whatever, and you have a little girly sleepover, you cannot shut up about what you like about them. She asks Baz, why do you like him? And she says, wouldn't you? That's her only reason.
And my answer would be no. No, I wouldn't. It's a shame because there was a lot of times where I felt like Jenny was trying to add tension, like quite tense scenes, like the shower scene and the motorbike scene. And because I didn't give a shit about any of the characters or like them, I just didn't care.
The motorcycle scene was cringe, and it gave me like Bella in Twilight or in, sorry, New
He
Moons.
was wearing a cardigan with nothing under it. And she just had her hands unbuttoning the cardigan so she could put them on his like stomach, I think.
She's not even holding on. She's got her hand in a cardigan. And she's unbuttoning the thing that she's holding on
Some
to.
button in it.
Like,
Hmm.
so at what point would it not just be like she's holding the cardigan apart as she's trying to hang on like a flying squirrel? Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Like you used to do at school when it was windy and you wanted to try and see if you could fly, so you unzipped your jacket and held it up. And then the shower scene with the licking of the water down her cheek. It's just like,
oh, fucking hell. Yeah, and all along, right, so sorry, there's something we sort of missed out a little bit is
hmm?
she has met Adrian once before with Sam in a car. And
Yes, that's right.
at what point does she's like, oh, he in case he doesn't recognize me. It's like he's met you. You've had not much of a conversation, but he of course he's going to recognize you.
Of
And
course he is. All you've done is dye your hair black and make it shorter because her hair's long and blonde.
and I'm sure that looks great. I'm sure that it's been done top notch and not a box dye as well.
I'm
Brilliant.
sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And also she's there for weeks. At what point do her roots not start growing? Fine. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry. Don't
Right, you're just the 2 weeks, though, remember, because that's when the check will bounce and
No, but
that's when she'll be found out.
doesn't the principal let her off
Yeah,
because yeah,
yeah.
it's longer than 2 weeks, right? Because it's
And it bounces like quite quickly, and I think the principal has her in her office and says like, that the last check hasn't went through, but
I'm letting you off because I've asked you to bring Baz, my daughter, away from Henry and
hmm
Adrian,
hmm
and
hmm
that's it. And then she takes the fact that she thinks Adrian killed Sam or whatever to the principal, and she's like, they're murderers, and the principal's like, oh, don't be so silly.
I know, and just loses it, like goes absolutely mad at her for saying that Adrian killed Sam.
Oh, I don't know. Anyway, should we get into some reviews? Because I feel like we are just lagging this off.
Yes, let's do it.
Oh. Do you know, I thought I hated our Infinite Fates, but
No, I think this is up there for me. When we do our end of year wrap up and our awards, it's gonna be tough.
right. Would you like to start with the ones or the fives?
Ones.
Yeah, good choice, good choice. the writing was overly pretentious, but not in a way that enhances the novel.
Agreed.
I still can't figure out what even happened in chapters 9 to 12 when they do like the party for Sam
Let me
and like
see.
the
No, I don't know.
knows Mori or something.
Oh, how many times did they say that? 9 to 12. Yeah, so that's the last part of chapter one. So part one, sorry. So just before she runs him off the road in the car
Hmm.
and they go to the woods, you're correct. And it almost seems like it might be like a ritual thing because Henry has like a crown of thorns on and there's lights in the trees and it's kind of like remembering Sam.
Sure.
Don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. None of it makes sense. What actually happened and what does any of it mean?
That's true.
The whole
Yeah.
novel
Yeah.
was a
Yeah.
fever dream strung together with the barest amounts of philosophical talk that also didn't make any sense and the barest movement of the plot.
Fair.
Yep.
It was
And
400 pages long.
oh, and I felt every one of those pages.
I know. Yeah.
Lots of people
Yeah.
shitting on the writing. They said it was
Mhm.
rubbish. They said it was juvenile. They said it didn't describe anything in terms of setting. One person went in on it because they were saying that it's very difficult anyway to write something and change the geographical locations of something that actually exists. They live quite
Mhm.
close to where this is all set, and that made it so that none of it
Oh.
made any sense to them.
Ah, so Aberdeen is a place.
I don't know if it actually is for sure. I read it as Aberdeen at least four times.
Me too. Me too. So many times. I mean, this is another thing, right? So no one cares. She goes missing, no one gives a shit, right? Her dad doesn't
Oh,
care.
yeah,
Nobody cares. She just leaves, she goes to this boarding school, and none of her friends or family seem to give a single shit. But she only goes up a hill.
right. Like,
That's
yeah, because what we haven't really mentioned is that Sam's like, first off, underage, so he's not actually old enough to get a job, but he's the caretaker there, so he's got his own set
He's
of
the
keys.
caretaker. Hmm.
Kids go into the town frequently, and she manages to avoid. Again, like
Hmm.
you said, all she's done is cut her hair and dyed her hair.
Hmm. And she's missing. So her friends would be like, oh, there she is there when she goes to the beach barbecue and she's just trying to hide behind things so they don't notice her. Like,
Yeah, like behind a bucket and spade, like, oh,
exactly. Exactly. Just like digging a hole in the sand and burying herself in it so they can't see her. Like, absolute nonsense.
yeah.
No, but sorry, you're right. The review, I agree. Yes, the writing was not good.
Yeah. The characters were extremely tropey and underdeveloped.
Mhm.
Jamie slash Marin is the most insufferable FMC I've ever read.
Not the most insufferable, but she's certainly up there. Yeah, that's fair.
The only likable character is Baz, who had any sense of characterization that wasn't based on being sexy and alluring, and is not even mentioned in the synopsis or on the cover, despite supposedly being in the
I
trio of people
know.
that Jamie or Marin believes is involved in her cousin's murder.
I know, and that's very interesting. Is that because the author really thought it was about like Jamie and the two boys, or is another reason why the cover was the way it was? I don't know.
Maybe we talk about that just quickly. Let's talk about
I'm gonna have a look at it again.
potential publisher interference.
It's a stunning cover. It's just not what the story's about. I mean, you can see her holding the tarot cards. She's got her art, like her hand wrapped around Henry's tie. It's very much like she's playing them both and they're like looking at her in adoration, like it's very sexy, like ooh.
They're monsters, she's worse. That's the tagline of
They're wicked. They're
Ah,
wicked. She's worse. Which
but she's
she's
not.
not.
Ugh.
She flips and goes absolutely batshit insane and plans to kill Baz. That's when she goes, but that doesn't come from any kind of logical plan.
Yeah, and she somehow categorizes herself as a monster because she's
Mhm.
falling in love with two boys who could be murderers. Like, oh, get over
Mhm.
yourself. Get over yourself.
Also, all this drama's going on. She finds out that Adrian killed Sam, but Henry's asked her to go to the dance with him, so she's still definitely going to go to the Release the Hounds dance. What are you talking about? What
Every
boarding
time,
school is going to call a dance that?
every time I read it, I just thought of Mr. Bird.
Me
Every
too.
release the hounds. Just like,
Every time. It's
oh,
just like, it's so cringy.
it was trying to be like edgy and cool. It was trying to be I'm gonna have to get through this. It was trying to be Skins, but not even Skins is cool. So that's not how it is. It's like
Yes.
when everyone who watched Skins in like America and stuff thought that was what school was like for us, but in fact it's actually the in-betweeners. Like
Yes, the in-betweeners is definitely the British school experience if you're looking to find out what that is. It was like giving me like elite vibes. Like I
oh, I
think it was trying to go
fucking
down that route.
love Elite. I fucking love Elite. Yeah.
And
But
that's cool and that's sexy, but it's not pretentious. It's sort of just I think the thing is she wanted to write like a sexy book with like, ooh, this is dark and mysterious, but then there was no plan to how the story was actually going to work.
it was almost as if she was there as, and the fact that she's an ex-high school teacher makes me
Hmm. Hmm.
that stood at the front of the class and was like, "Hey kids, learning is fun. Like learning is
Yeah,
sexy. Philosophy can be sexy."
I know. She said she loves teenagers in her interview. Like she loves how complicated and complex they are and how like explosive the reactions to things are. And she thought that that was a really interesting bunch of characters to play with for the story.
like it's never been done before.
And much better.
Oh, okay, right. Okay, let's we can moving on.
Move on. Okay,
Sorry.
give me the 5 stars. Must be somebody that liked this book.
Oh, there's more one stars. So
Oh no, go for it.
I don't know how this managed to be absolutely predictable yet still not make any sense. So kudos to the author for that feat. You said it. You said it.
I did say it. Yeah.
DNF'd at 60%, DNF'd at 35, DNF'd at 21, DNF'd at
Ooh,
DNF'd at 10, DNF'd at 80%. Fucking hell.
80. 80%. What's going on at 80%? Let's see, I found it.
And there are two more while you find out what happens at 80%.
Mm, mhm.
Disappointed
It's
in
just when she finds out about Sam, basically. When she finds out that who killed him and why. It's the big reveal.
I don't blame them. Like you've gotten what you wanted from the book, you know the mystery, give a shit. Disappointed in this. Towards the end, it almost felt like I was just hate reading it.
That's fair. Yeah, I was rolling my eyes at pretty much every page.
Honestly, I just wanted to get through it to finish it, to like for us to have this discussion. Like
Hmm. Hmm.
I didn't even know
When
that.
you had written, when you text me and you said at 40% you're actually quite enjoying it, I was like, how on earth are we going to do this episode if I feel so strongly about it in one way and you actually enjoyed it? It's like, this is going to be such an interesting episode, but then it didn't last. Your enthusiasm for it did not last.
And it must have just come from some sort of fucking hallucination. That sort of like, oh yeah, I've got.
No, but to be fair, when the scrying came into it, I was interested. I was actually quite like, oh, okay, this is cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think when it was like, although I didn't understand anything that happened between again like that review, the chapters of 9 and 12 or anything, I was like, oh, okay, right. So there's some sort of like maybe deeper sort of cult here. It's a bit more interesting. Have they accidentally raised a demon? Is that what killed Sam? So
Hmm. Hmm.
no, 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 that didn't happen. No, none of that.
There's been so many cool dark academia like books and also TV shows. There was one that was out a long time ago. I think it was called Trinity. There was just so many other ways this could have went. It was similar in that there was lots of boys turning up dead, and it was like, what's happening? And it turned out they were doing like experiments on them. So there was just so many other directions that this could have went in.
Oh yeah, yeah. But I will finish it with my possibly favorite one-star review that I've ever seen. At least be shit and enjoyable.
That sums it up.
I love that as well because that reader definitely knows that what we know is that sometimes you don't need it to be the best written, you don't need it to be the best storyline or whatever. You just need it to pull you in and
Hmm.
make you read something not necessarily different, but something that just, speaks to you in some way. Could be the most
Hmm.
basic level. It doesn't have
Hmm.
to be in this really higher philosophical level or whatever. This has tried to do too much and
Hmm.
it's failed every single thing it's tried to do.
Yeah, and it's not enjoyable. And that's if it's not enjoyable and you are just reading it to get through it. Because again, and I've said it before with other books, if we had not been talking about this in this episode, I would not have struggled through that book. No way.
I do not DNF books, but I really wished I could DNF this.
Okay.
Now on to the 5 stars.
I'm really interested to hear these. All right.
I mean, it's basically just the antithesis, right? That it's so well written. It is a twisted story of delusion, obsession, love, and hate. Jenni's writing is a gem to those looking for a dark academia that hits every mark. Her style so easily capturing and spiraling obsession of our main quad and how they almost luxuriate in their own egos. That review could have been written by Jenni Howell.
I was going to say that sounds familiar.
What else? Somebody read the audiobook. It held me by the
I did read a review, see a review of the audiobook actually, and someone said it was too one note because the person that was recording it made it very like enigmatic and like, oh, this is Hawthorne Academy, and apparently it just became really old really quickly. So,
Jesus. Um,
mm.
it held me by the throat as I simultaneously devoured it while telling myself to slow down so I could savor it. The prose was stunning and titillating in a way that was so intellectually stimulating. And that is not me taking the piss out of this reviewer. They have put so in big caps.
Okay, cool. Again, I feel like that could be Jenny, but all right.
Yeah. So many people are likening this to Donna Tartt's Secret History, and they are so wrong. So
So wrong.
And the ending, y'all are not ready for the emotional damage. 6 stars, definitely one of the top 10 best books I've read this year. Have you read 10 books this year? Like, is that...
Oh,
Yeah,
emotional damage. I mean, yeah, they all kind of had a shit ending, but did I care? No.
this was an eerie and haunting thriller. To
A
whom?
thriller. A thriller. I couldn't even describe the setting.
I know.
Eerie and haunting.
Um,
Come on.
I loved the way the author wrote because it was so easy to get lost in the cadence of the words and madness of her mind.
Lost would be the word there.
Yeah, God, yeah. Anything else you want to talk about in terms of the 5 stars?
Nah, because I just think I'm going to disagree with them all. So
Yeah,
no.
yeah. Something we didn't talk about with the 1 stars, and we should probably talk about it because there were a lot of reviews that mentioned it, and I think we've both felt the same, that this is being categorized as a queer, or as queer in sort of any
Yeah.
definitive way. I will say it now, there is no definitive answer as to whether or not there is a queer relationship in this book.
No, no, not definitive at all. I think there's enough hints sprinkled through, perhaps deliberately, to keep it ambiguous and not commit fully to it. But I think there are little, oh, could it not be? Could it not be? Which does feel really cheap. And I think we were talking about this earlier, weren't we? That it's irresponsible.
Yeah, it is. You're the word irresponsible is so right. Like it's irresponsible to be marketed as such, for one, because it's just not true. There is a relation, well, there is a sort of close relationship between Henry and Adrian, but it's never like they say I love you and they say, don't leave
There's
me.
a, Yeah, there's a scene where they're having an argument, aren't they? She's in her room because they share a bathroom. Like they
Yeah,
have adjoining rooms and they share a bathroom.
yeah.
And she can hear because I think the bathroom door is open. She can hear Henry kind of say to Adrian, I need you. But that isn't actually anything to do with romance or romantic subplot. That's because he needs them to harvest souls for him, basically.
Yeah. And I think there's a bit where Henry's like feasting on Adrian almost. It's sexually charged for sure, but it's not obliquely queer.
No,
Like,
no.
and
Nothing is. Nothing is.
there's this thing that I have about dark academia that there's, especially with the more calls for queer books, which is exactly how it should be. We should be getting, I think we've talked about this loads before, queer stories that are exactly the same as heterosexual stories. You know, you get your romance, you get your romantasy, whatever, and it isn't a big thing that it's queer. It's just, a queer, oh, I fancy reading a queer story. I'll pick out one of these genres. Easy, done. That should exist. But to do it, dark academia feels like the place where it can be done because it's taboo, and it
Hmm.
it right. Like, actually, one of my favorite dark academias, If We Were Villains, there is a sort of a queer relationship or sort of a will they won't they, and it's beautifully done. But when you put something as a book, like, so let's talk about Our Infinite Fates, when someone's like, oh, enemies to lovers, yeah, I'm gonna do that. That it's not enemies to lovers. This was not Why Choose. This is not queer, or at least again, obliquely queer. Like, I'm sure someone could argue with us that actually, oh yeah, no, there is some queer subtext here, and maybe there is, but it's not. It's we've overlooked it.
No. And if you're picking up this book, looking at the cover and thinking, this is going to give me something that as you were saying before, that I'm specifically looking for, you're going to be disappointed because it's not there.
Exactly. And especially with this as a YA novel, it almost feels like a tactic to get people to read it, to get kids to read it, to get queer kids to read it.
I agree. I even think that the depiction of Jamie is quite androgynous, is deliberate.
Yeah,
Because you said before, didn't you? Like, oh, I thought that was
three
three
boys.
boys.
Yeah, 100%. When you first said, "Oh, boys, it's this book, Boys with Sharp Teeth, come out," I had a quick look at the cover, and I said to you, "Oh," and you went that cover, and I went, "Oh yeah, oh my God, wow, yeah, that's amazing." And then I remember even going, "Oh, it's a girl in the middle," like,
Hmm.
and but being, I mean, disappointed. But yeah, I think you're right. It is done deliberately, and I don't want to call anyone out author wise or whatever. Maybe I don't know how much control authors have over how their books are marketed. We've talked about this a little bit before, but if it is the fault of the publishers, which I would readily believe over the fault of the authors, then it just seems wrong for it to be done. And it seems manipulative,
Yeah.
And I get these
It
books have
seems deliberately deceptive to me. Even choosing the name Jamie. And I don't know if that was always the name that the author had chosen at the start. I don't know. But even choosing a name that is quite ambiguous.
I'd never considered that either. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting.
Because the other two boys are traditionally male names, right?
Adrian.
Adrian, Henry,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Jamie. We don't know. Could be
Interesting.
either.
Did you say that there was a alternate version of this book?
There was. So the author in the interview that I listened to actually intended to write it in a more linear way. So you'd be introduced to Jamie as Marin, and you would also be introduced to Sam. You would get a better insight into their relationship, but she was quite concerned about his growing relationship with the other students from the school. And then in about chapter 3 or 4, he died. And then we get into the storyline of what happened to him, Jamie, all that sort of thing. Um, but it was a condition of the sale that that was completely taken out and that we got the book that we ended up with the really ambiguous start, with the strange chapter at the beginning, with Adrian, and then with us thrown straight in with Jamie turning up at Hawthorne and trying to infiltrate and lie her way into the school.
I mean, it's just us finding more out about the publishing industry, right? Like, I didn't know that. It just seems a little underhanded to be like, oh yeah, we'll only make sure this book sells
Oh, it
if.
sounded brutal, and Jenny was laughing in the interview, so she seemed quite upbeat because obviously she's now been published and it's successful. It's a bestseller. But yesterday, this interview came out. But she was like, "Yeah, basically, I was told to scrap the entire first part of the book, and they said, no, 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 that can't stay in. You need to take all of that out, or else we're not buying it."
Mad.
I
It,
think what was missing was the connection between Jamie and Sam. Why should I care? I don't believe that you guys had a strong relationship, so I didn't get to see any of that.
yeah, and also Jamie's relationship with anyone, including herself, just like
Funnily enough, as well, because when asked what sort of the themes were, Jenny said that the biggest theme and the reason why she used mirrors and scrying was identity.
Oh, I knew it was going to be identity. Oh,
So, holding up a mirror to yourself, she wanted to literally feature mirrors in the story. Hmm.
yeah. I mean, if you cannot trust what you see in the mirror, then how is that an examination of identity? Or if you're seeing faces that aren't your own, how is that an examination of identity? But, I'm sure, look, like any good English literature exam, you could argue either way, I'm sure. But if you wanted it to be a strong sense of identity, you'd think you'd make it easier for the people who are reading it.
Especially because, as you've said many times before, there's very few stories where identity wouldn't be a theme. So, but yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Obviously, we've sort of pulled this book apart, and I don't even think you or I have said anything we liked about it.
The
Which,
scrying, I liked the idea.
oh yeah,
I
no, and
liked,
I,
I
I
liked the idea.
enjoyed the first party and the ritual element of it, and sort of,
Yep.
I would have liked, yeah, I would have liked to have seen it go a different route. Um,
And I think, I don't know about you, but I think I knew it wasn't going to. And I think I anticipated the end being disappointing, which didn't help it.
Yeah. For as grumpy and as strong as Adrian was, sorry, so he had to die because he just felt so compelled to look after Henry that he had to die to free himself. Was
Yeah.
that was
So,
that the
so they
gist?
had like a strange, mm, I think so. I don't think he can live with the guilt of what he's done. She helps him kill himself on the dance floor.
Yeah, it's with like the insulin again.
Yeah, the insulin's making it's a big part of the story. And then Henry kind of swoops in and steals the dance whilst Adrian's just lying there dying.
Lol. Yeah, ick of the week. I have one other than the whole thing. Um, it's literally, I think, in the first page of the first chapter, and it's the fact that she comes out wearing white ripped jeans, to which I was just like, what fucking year is this?
What year is this?
What fucking year is this?
What year is this? That's so true. Oh, to be honest, just the fact that they were in class reading The Tempest was an ick. It's just like, oh, got to get some more. It's got to be deep. It's got to be pretentious.
What?
So much of it was an act, but a big one was probably the cardigan.
Oh, the cardigan. Yeah. Who doesn't wear anything? Oh, but his nipples are chafed to fuck. God.
I know. I know how itchy a cardigan is. Can you imagine?
And you know it's real wool as well, because that boy's got
It's
veins
real
out his
wool.
ass. Yeah.
It is real wool. It's a woolen school cardigan that he is wearing with nothing under it.
I bet he smells so bad.
I thought he smelled. Yeah. I got that vibe from him. Oh, and also, sorry, another one. There's two. I'll be your mirror when he can.
Oh, when
He's
he
trying
can't.
shaving his head and he's looking at the ground and he doesn't look at her. And then she says, "I'll be your mirror," and then helps him shave his head. It's like this is just. And then cuts her hat. The whole scene was shit, but the "I'll be your mirror" bit was particularly cringe.
Which I think is mad, because isn't she thinking like, oh, I want to create this like camaraderie
Hmm.
between us.
Mhm.
And at the
Mhm.
same time, it's just like, okay. Then I think if I'm thinking about it, like every mentions of mirror, I'm trying to think of identity. Are we supposed to then believe that because she says that she's got this kinship with him already? Ah, fuck off.
It's
Oh,
just the whole thing, and also the reveal of the fact that he knew who she was, just absolute and utter shit. Nonsense.
he could have told her at any time.
He knew instantly. As soon as she walked in, he was playing that frickin' violin. Next week.
You want to go straight into that?
I feel like we need to say, do we think it's worth people's time?
No, how about we skip that and we just try and get to some books that people should actually read?
Okay.
Read The Secret History by Donna Tartt. That's Dark Academia. Read If We Were Villains by ML Rio. That's Dark Academia. Graveyard Shift by ML Rio. It's a short novella set in a university, based around one evening, and it's fucking great. Any others?
I just feel like if you look up any Dark Academia book, it's going to be better than this. There are so many really famous and popular ones. So if it is your first time exploring the genre, then don't start with this one.
Oh God, yeah, no. If you've read this thinking, "Oh, I'm going to get into an accessible dark academia," I'm so sorry, this is not one. I think there's a book called The Whispering Dark, which I really thoroughly enjoyed. It's a standalone. Kelly Andrew, that's pretty good. That will be a accessible dark academia if you fancied that. On to better things. Next week,
Yeah.
what are we reading?
We're reading Flawless by Elsie Silver.
Ah, number one of the Chestnut Springs. Rodeo, Indian
Woohoo!
Cowboy. Yeah, we are.
Yeehaw!
It's been tempting us for a while, and we are trying our hand at some cowboy romance.
I'm really excited.
Me too. I think, well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Obviously, coming off the back of this, it's not going to be difficult to make us feel anything other than rage. So,
Hmm.
yeah, we'll see. I mean, I feel like I'm going to go in expecting quite a few tropes. I'm probably going to be pitting this up against pumpkin spice, that sort of thing. So,
That's the only thing that's making me a little bit hesitant about it. But I'm going to try and go in without any prior expectations, and I'm just going to take it for what it is. I've never read a cowboy romance before, so
I think this might be my first cowboy romance as well. Yeah, fingers crossed. Who knows? Who knows? And should we announce what our last book of this season will be before we go on holiday?
you can. Yeah, go for it.
We have decided that after soft cowboy romance, we're going to take a dark turn to and handle a very famous dark romance, the Mindfuck series by C.M. Owens or S.T. Abbey. I think they've written under both names or whatever. We are going to do all five books because they're only 100 and odd pages each.
Oh, what a relief. It's going to be so nice to read a book that short, to be honest. Oh, yeah. As you say, very popular.
Pip
Infamous.
Yeah, Pip does like a sort of dark romance, but with a Criminal Minds element, and you know I'm obsessed with Criminal Minds, so
I know, I know. I feel like you're going to love it.
I hope so.
That'll
Going,
take us to the end of the month.
I know, and then we will be going on a 2 week break, so the beginning of May for us, we will be away from your ears for 2 weeks, where you can always have time to go back and listen to our older episodes if you want. You could subscribe to our Patreon, which has more things on ish.
Hmm.
And who knows, maybe you could just message
Yeah.
us on TikTok. We'll probably still be on TikTok. Then we'll be back with some more exciting reads.
Oh, one of my most anticipated reads of the year.
Oh,
Mm.
goodbye. Thank you for listening.
Happy reading.